Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am showing off this new stamp set by Brutus Monroe today. This is their Lucky You stamp set. Now this stamp set was part of their inspiration box where you get a lot of goodies centered around this sort of good luck charm theme. And I'm just using the stamp set. I'm not using anything else from the box. And I love all these little images. They're all so cute. There's a cat, there's a horseshoe, a little jar of stars, lucky stars, a faux rabbit's foot, and some other little images. And I thought they were all cute. I couldn't decide which ones I wanted to use. So I thought I'd just load them up in my MISTI and stamp them all out and just have some fun coloring. So I'm stamping them out using my Brutus Monroe detail ink. This ink is fantastic to use with any kind of coloring because it's permanent once you heat set it. So it's not going to run whether you use alcohol markers or watercolors or colored pencils or any kind of medium you use. So I really love to just grab this one for most of my stamping, and since I'm using my MISTI, I'm going ahead and I'm stamping out all these images, and I'm actually going to stamp them 2 or 3 times to get a good impression. Now after I heat set my ink, I'm just going to color all these images using my Stylefile markers, and I sped up this portion of the video so you didn't have to sit through all of my coloring, but I will meet you back after I'm done coloring this cat image so that I can show you how I created the rest of the card. So enjoy the music and enjoy the coloring, and I'll meet you back in a minute. So now I have all my images colored. I tried to stick with a red and gold and sort of an emerald green kind of color scheme. And I did go ahead and I fussy cut all of those images out with my Brutus Monroe fussy cutting scissors. And I want to create a background now. And I'm grabbing some of this Aqua pigment. This is a metallic, sort of a shimmery color. And I wanted to grab some of this green to make just a really simple background. So I'm going to grab some of this aqua pigment. I'm going to squirt it right onto my craft mat, because this craft mat, this mixed media mat, is so super easy to clean up. I can just work with these pigments right off of my craft mat. I'm also taking this Nouveau blending brush, and I'm just picking up a little bit of that pigment and just brushing a little bit of that color on. And I don't want to get too much. I just want you to really see that brush stroke in the background. So I'm just kind of trying to make my brush stroke look a little bit even here, and that's really all I'm going to do with this pigment. There's a lot of fun techniques you can do, but I wanted to keep this background simple since I was putting so many different images over it. I also wanted to get some of that gold shimmer in here because I kind of have colored my images a little bit to look like there's some gold accents, and I wanted to keep some more of that gold on this card. So I'm grabbing my gilded liquid elements, squirting some onto my craft mat, and then I'm just going to add some splatters by picking it up with my water brush and just tapping on. And this is just a really easy way that you can get some gold accents and a little bit of texture to your background, and it's not incredibly hard to do. And I find that these Brutus Monroe watercolor brushes work really well if you want to add some splatters onto your backgrounds and onto your cards. One really fun thing is that since these aqua pigments are reactive with water, they're going to kind of react a little bit with this liquid element. So you're going to get some more of those little bleached spots that you might get when you're working with colored watercolors, and I thought that was really fun. So here I have all my splatters on my background, and I did go ahead and I hit that with my heat tool just to speed up the drawing process. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere down all of my images. I'm using a mix of foam adhesive and craft glue. I wanted to just pop up some of those images and then have some of the images just glued on flat to my card. I'm kind of arranging them in sort of an arc to go along with that brush stroke I created in the background. And I'm popping up this cat. I thought that he was kind of the main image in this little group of fun things. So I'm popping him up on foam adhesive. I think I'm also going to pop up the ladybug and the floor leaf clover. But for all the other images, I'm using some of this Brutus Monroe craft glue. I love this glue because it dries quickly, but it still gives you some time to move things around before it's totally adhered down. And one thing I really love, and I just found out recently, is that if you get a fine tip applicator like the one that I have here, it fits perfectly on this half-ounce little bottle of glue. And I've been using this fine tip applicator for pretty much everything that I'm gluing now, because it gives you just the right amount of glue on little die cuts or little sentiments or anything without getting glue all over your project. So I really love using that tip when I'm applying this glue. So I'm just arranging all of my pieces. I'm trying to kind of glue them down and keep everything where I want it to go, so I can just keep that arrangement on the front of my card. And then once everything's in place, I'm going to go ahead and just adhere this card panel down to my card base. And I'm going to do that using some Brutus Monroe foam adhesive. Now, the foam adhesive that I got from Brutus Monroe is a little bit thicker than the foam adhesive you just saw me use. So it's really great if you want to make a shaker card. It gives you a little bit of extra room for all of those shaker bits to kind of freely shake around. They don't really get stuck behind your window. And it's really great for popping up your front panel of your card like I'm doing here, because it gives you some really great dimensions. So I'm just taking some strips of this foam adhesive, just layering it all on the back of my card front, and then I'm going to put it onto my card base. And this foam adhesive, I have to say, is really very sticky, which is a good thing when you want everything to stay together. It takes a little bit of getting used to peel off the backer, but once you kind of figure out the tricks to doing that, it's not too bad. I usually use a little pokey tool or a craft knife to kind of lift that backer off, and then I don't have too much problems with it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and just adhere it down to my card base. I'm just using a white card base and making sure everything is lined up before I press it down. So with that, my card is almost finished. You can see all of that nice dimension from the foam adhesive. And I'm going to go ahead and add a sentiment. So I did cut down a strip of black cardstock, and I stamped out one of the sentiments from the stamp set with my embossing ink, and then I'm embossing it in my gilded Brutus Monroe embossing powder. And I just love this powder because it shines so much, and I think gilded is still one of my all-time favorite colors. So I'm going to grab this craft glue again, just add a little bit onto the back of my my cardstock, and here again I'm in love with this fine tip applicator because it gives me just the right amount of glue on the back of this tiny strip of cardstock. So I'm just going to go and arrange this sentiment on the bottom of my card, right where I want it to go. I'm kind of going to tuck it in behind that 4-leaf clover and that little ladybug there, and I think it just really makes most of the images kind of pop with that little piece of black accent. So I'm just pressing it down where I want it to go, and then I'm flipping it over, and I did trim off the sides. I didn't get that on camera. I kind of did that off screen, but you get the idea. So that's really the card for today. Most of the work went into the coloring of the images, but the background really helps them stand out without having to do too much work. And I hope you can see all the shimmer in this card because it's really fun. So if you want to, go ahead and check out this stamp set or any of the products that I have listed below. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to hit like or subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!